Alright everyone, I think I am live now to YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me here. I want to go ahead and have you tell me in the comments now if you're still hanging around. I know I struggled with that first stream just a minute ago. Thank you so much for being supportive here as I get this first stream figured out for you. But if you'll go ahead and head on over and go to the chat and let me know if you can hear me, that would be great for me. So if you'll go ahead and head into the chat and let me know if you can hear me. Then I'll get started after that. There might be a little bit of a delay from my end to yours. But we're working this out together, and thank you so much for being here. We're going to be covering the winter system that's going to be coming over portions of the north-central part of the country, as well as the huge Arctic blast. So if you'll go ahead and let me know in the comments if you can hear me, some sort of thumbs up, and then I'll move on and get started here. Alright, I've got someone telling me on my end that they can hear me. So I'm going to trust that you guys can hear me right now, and I'm going to go on. Yeah, I've got a thumbs up in the chat. Thank you there. Let's see. This should be working. Yes, okay. Alright, we're going to go ahead and move on to the models now. So this is a look you're getting ready to see on your screen right here. You're seeing tropical tidbits, and we're going to be looking through tropical tidbits, pivotal weather today. That's what we're going to be using for this live stream. Thank you once again for hopping on. So first of all, what I want to play through first here, as we go through the middle portion of this week, that's when we've got this really warm air. This is about 15 to 20 degrees above average here, moving over the south central. This is going to be over the Midwest. This is going to be over the Great Lakes. Pretty much the entire country near or above average as we go through this point. Now we've got this cool air getting ready to dive on down out of portions of Canada as well into portions of the north central United States. So we're going to be watching that very closely. And once again, I'm just going to kind of go back here and monitor the chat here and see what's going on. Okay, that page is closed. I want to just make sure everything's working here. So it's looking like you guys are able to see what I'm looking at. So once again, thank you so much for being on here. And here we go. We're really going to dive on into detail now. Alright, so let's go ahead and play this out further because we're going to see this big cold blast sink southward out of portions of southern Canada. And look at this. Some of these pinks that you're seeing on your screen, this is where we're going to get about 15, 20, even 25 degrees above average initially. But in some of these areas here into portions of Montana, as well as portions of the western Dakotas, this is where temperatures could get as much as 40 degrees, maybe even 45 degrees below average. Meanwhile, over here from Texas eastward to the Carolinas and to the mid-Atlantic, we're talking about temperatures anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees above average. So this is a big contrast, and normally in the middle of these areas where we see the contrast, that's where we begin to see, you know, the chances for some storms to begin to pop on up. So let's go ahead and begin playing this out further for us using pivotal weather. So we're going to head on over to the GFS model. This is just going to be what we're going to be used for now. And playing this out, you can see as we work our way through the middle of Thursday, look at this system here that we get moving northeastward. You can see some rainfall and storm coverage embedded in that. We've got snowfall back here over the Mountain West. That's going to be what we're going to watch to push into that region. But what you didn't see on your screen is that we've got kind of these initializing systems out ahead of this over the course of the next 48 hours from when I'm live here. And this is going to trigger the chance for some isolated severe weather. So I want to go ahead and pull up Storm Prediction Center right here, and this is going to show us our graphics for this time frame. And as we go towards our Tuesday, look at this. This is going to be our risk on the Tuesday time frame, and we're looking at a level 1 severe weather risk from portions of Minnesota on over and through central Wisconsin, as well as into portions of northern Michigan. This includes the 5% chance within 25 miles of a point of wind gusts of 50 knots or higher, aka about 58 miles per hour or higher, and then also 5% of hail in that zone. But we've also got southern New Mexico and far southwestern Texas there. These areas are where we're looking for some of those, you know, some of the wind gusts and the hail as well. So this includes places like El Paso, Texas, Midland, Lubbock, Fort Stockton, and then for the wind and hail threat up there in the Midwest and the Great Lakes, we're talking about Minneapolis, portions of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, on over to Green Bay, northern Michigan. So that's what we're watching there. And we're going to play out future radar. How about right now for us here? And we're going to head on over back to Pivotal Weather. Again, this is running a little bit slow. This is my first live stream. I appreciate you hopping on, but of course you can always watch later with these videos. So let's head on over to the HRRR model. I want to move on up into the, let's start down here over portions of the South Central, shall we? Let's start over here. South Central U.S. We're going to pull up the composite reflectivity, and then we're going to be all set for us. Again, this is my first stream. I've been working through some kinks. I've had to restart some stuff. That's why these graphics aren't 100% ready here right now. Now here we go through the course of the overnight hours tonight. Some rainfall pushing through portions of Texas and Oklahoma, but it's these storms we get tomorrow afternoon that begin firing up here through portions of eastern New Mexico, portions of southwestern Texas that we're going to be watching for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and we're also going to be watching out for some 1-inch hail out of those storms. So we're watching that closely as these continue to push northeastward. Again, that might be more of the wind threat as these push eastward, and even wouldn't be shocked if this threat gets extended just a little bit further northward into portions of the panhandle of Texas, as well as far southwestern Oklahoma, as these showers and storms move their way on through that region. Now we're going to go ahead and transfer this on up to the midwestern United States and play out what's going on there. First of all, as I'm filming this on your Monday evening, we do have the chance for some isolated, some of the marginally severe hail during the nighttime tonight here in some of these storms that you can see there. But our best risk is going to come into the day tomorrow. And this right here is why they added, this was originally just a hail threat due to these elevated cloud bases. But now you're beginning to see some of these right here. This is central Wisconsin. This is the upper peninsula of Michigan as well. These zones right here, you can see some of the, this looks like more of a line segment than I saw earlier today. And that's why this is turning out to also have the wind threat embedded in it. But again, we're not looking at significant storms over the course of the next few days. And really, this is just the beginning of a developing weather pattern that's going to begin to trigger, some feistier storms and some of the heavier rainfall over portions of the central United States. So we're going to go back to a national view here. We're going to be using pivotal weather, and this is the European model. And let's go ahead and head on over to the precipitation type and rate forecast. And I want to do an in-depth walkthrough of the next 7 days on radar. We'll talk about temperatures after that, and then we'll go ahead and hop off after that. And I don't want to make this too lengthy. Make this like a normal video, just live. So here we go over the course of the next, let's pause this Tuesday afternoon. We've got some scattered showers from portions of, say, Wisconsin curling back on down through central Texas. Also these storms that fire up in this area, of course, that's where the isolated severe weather will be. We've got this new area of low pressure moving into the Pacific Northwest, and in that area, that's where we could begin to see some snowfall set up over portions of northwest Montana, far southern Canada as well, getting in on some of that. So we're watching that closely. And then notice how that snow shield begins pushing eastward. The models have trended a little northward with the snow shield, but nonetheless still some snowfall for a good bit of Montana, moving into far northern North Dakota. And also notice here as we go Wednesday night into Thursday, we're watching these storms here from portions of Nebraska through central and eastern Kansas, back through the Oklahoma City region, all the way back on down through the Dallas area, down into southern Texas as well. We'll see if these could make their way all the way down towards Corpus Christi, Brownsville. These will be pushing off towards the east and fighting against this area of high pressure that I just circled on your screen right there. This is really going to be taking control of the east, so storms are therefore going to have to ride on over this. And overall, most of the systems we get are going to move over and barely skim past the northeast. Mostly it's going to be plains active weather over the course of the next several days. Now, here we go. I want to jump back on this real quick. In fact, I want to log into my Pivotal Weather account. It should automatically do that. Yeah, here we go. I wanted to do that because it was skipping some hours for me that I didn't want it to skip. Okay, sorry. Hey, part of being the live screen, it's the live stream, right? Let's see what's going on here. See who's on. I got about 11 viewers right now. Got people. Audio is fine. Good sound. Hi, Severe Storm Filmer. Thanks so much for coming on. All right, let's go ahead and go back on over to the models here and continue playing this out. Now, here we go. Thursday afternoon. We've got system pushing east right here. You can see rainfall through, now this is Missouri included in this, the Arklatex, back through eastern Texas, the Houston metro area. Some of the areas in that zone, Galveston, yes, getting in on the rain. This is going to be pretty hefty rain, and we'll go through the flood risks as well in just a minute. Some snowfall here back into the Mountain West, northern North Dakota, getting in on some of the snowfall as well. So these are all things that we're going to be watching. And then notice how that snow shield, it looks like we'll get just enough of wraparound with that low pressure system, tightly packed isobars indicating stronger winds moving back around that system. Wouldn't be shocked if some of these showers even into portions of eastern South Dakota and central and north central Nebraska turned over to snow. But it's really in this zone right here where it's very likely that we see snow. So eventually even changing over pretty much through all of North Dakota, eventually seeing some sort of changeover. But the best chance for accumulation is going to be in that area right there that I'm circling as this moves on over into Canada. Notice we get a little bit of a break. Things are pretty, tame for the moment here on your Friday morning over parts of the country. It looks like we might see some very, very light precipitation develop Friday afternoon. We've also got, we've still got tightly packed isobars, stronger winds blowing back in behind the system as it continues pushing east. And then eventually it looks like as we head towards our Saturday and into our Sunday, maybe some light snowfall precipitation setting up over the north central part of the country. But by this point we're seeing cold air rush southward, which in turn is going to result in some of the northern end of this new system that tries to develop closer to your October 29th, your Sunday. Some of the northern parts of that into portions of Nebraska, as well as portions of Colorado, could see some snowfall out of that as it develops. And notice how that turns into our next system and really could help to blast cold air southward with some gusty winds here into portions of North Texas. So I want to go back over now to... Oops, I just drew on the screen. I didn't mean to. Okay, let's go back over here. This is the GFS model, and in fact, we're actually going to we're going to do the same thing on pivotal weather. Actually, I like running through it on here. Thank you so much once again, everybody, for being online and taking the time to do this. Now, again, right now, as I'm filming this, well above average over a good part of the country. It's a little cooler here in the Mid-Atlantic. That won't last long in comparison to average. Playing this out as we go towards our Tuesday, as we go towards our Wednesday, these departures are going to begin to work their way into Montana and North Dakota. But notice it's pretty limited, but where it is, we're talking 30, 40 degrees below normal there. This is central Montana getting about 30 to 40 degrees below normal. Pretty much the entire eastern two-thirds of the country remaining in that plus 5 to 15 range in the temperature anomalies at this point. Beginning to play it out beyond that time, you can see we continue to see cold air surge southeastward into the Dakotas, into Minnesota, into Iowa. And look at this as we head towards, let's just say, your Saturday night going into your Sunday. First of all, we've still got this right here. We've still got cold air over the north central tier, so that's nothing new. But notice this is beginning to work its way southward, as I was just mentioning, towards Iowa, towards Wisconsin, towards Illinois. This is also along the west coast where we're about 15, 20 degrees below average into portions of California as well as northern Nevada. But it's going to be that system that we get this weekend. I think that's going to be the final push that's going to surge this colder air southward. And yes, in Texas, we've seen some 80s and 90s over the course of the last few days. Yeah, we're going to be talking about air that's, way on the other side of that now. 20 to 30 degrees below normal about a week after you're near 90 degrees. This is going to be some insane stuff. We'll walk through what some of those forecast temperatures are going to be in just a minute. And, we continue to see that sink southward. And eventually it looks like most of this cold air will take over all of the country at some point, with at least 10 to 20 degree departures moving eastward by the time we start November, so maybe a spooky chill in the air at that point. Now, in terms of your forecast, I want to go over here to your Climate Prediction Center outlook. This is your 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook. We've pretty much got one of the deepest blue shades indicating the most likely opportunity for cool departures over the entirety of the north central U.S. as we finish out the month. That's because most of the strongest cool air is going to be even before this point. So just keep in mind that what you're looking at right here isn't even the worst this is going to get. Notice how at this point it's drawing that front out. We're still got the high pressure influence in the southeast. We've still got cool, and now at this point we've got cool air moving down into portions of Texas and the south central United States. Your 6 to 10 day precip outlook is going to give you a pretty similar idea. We've got rainfall continuing to move southward from this, eventually drying out here over the northern plains. So that's what we're looking at. And the last thing that I really want to talk about here before we wrap things up is the daily high temperatures. So today, this is your Monday. This is what highs we're getting near today. In the 80s over most of the south central United States today. that's going to continue shifting east. And as we go towards, say, our Tuesday, look at this. We've got 70s and 80s pushing all the way on up. Close to the Midwest, we're going to be knocking on 80 in Chicago, in Peoria, Illinois, in Springfield, Missouri. All of these areas knocking on the doorstep of 80 degrees. And we've got 80, 85, even close to 90 degrees here into Louisiana and Mississippi. This is going to be downright warm air for this time of the year. That's going to continue pushing east. You start to see some of these cooler shades, some of the greens and blues starting to move up there into the north central United States. Look at this. This is what you're going to wake up to Wednesday morning. 60s over pretty much the entirety of the Midwest and back down to the south central. Teens and 20s here over portions of the north central. But you think that's it? No, that's not it at all. As we go towards your Wednesday afternoon, keeping it below freezing into northwestern North Dakota, pretty much most, if not all, of Montana. 70s and 80s continuing over the southern and eastern United States. Want to jump ahead to your Thursday afternoon, and let's skip to Friday afternoon here. This is when things are really getting real deal. In fact, let's start at Friday morning. Temperatures over this entire area that I'm circling here, below freezing. Temperatures over this area that I'm circling in the purple below about 10 degrees. This is really chilly air. You factor in the wind that's going to be whipping in behind this system, I guarantee you it's going to feel like negative digits in some of these locations. Meanwhile, we've still got temperatures in the 60s and 70s remaining. It's going to be a good stretch of some pretty hot weather for this time of the year over this part of the country, the Midwest. As we go towards, say, your Saturday morning, this entire area below 10, this entire area below 32. We're beginning to see that line of 50s push east to places like Chicago, now down to 50 or so on your Saturday morning, which still isn't bad for this time of the year there. Saturday afternoon, that's when things really begin to get noticed. Barely touching the 40s into central Iowa, Ames, Des Moines, these areas barely touching the 40s. We've got 30s at best into portions of Nebraska, with 20s over a large chunk of the north central United States there. This includes Wyoming. Look at this. We've got 80s now in the southeast. So notice that what was 80s in the Midwest has now been pushed on down to the southeast coast. And then here we go towards, say, your Sunday morning at 8 a.m. At this point, we're beginning to see the freezing temperatures continue to push eastward, and we've got temperatures anywhere from around 0 to 10 over this entire part of the country right here. Some crazy stuff to look at. Last thing, this is Sunday at 8 p.m. Temperatures, Sunday through Sunday at 8 p.m. This is the warmest. We'll get 20s over the north central, 80s in the southeast. And one last thing I want to look at here is the Weather Prediction Center and some of their excessive rainfall outlooks. Slight risk for excessive rainfall through tonight into portions of Texas. That includes, and then as we go towards tomorrow, the Red River Valley under a slight risk, as well as, that area where we'll have the wind and hail threat that I talked about at the start of the live stream. That'll be over the upper Midwest. By the way, I'll answer any questions in just a minute. Similar deal as we go towards your Wednesday to Thursday. Most of the flooding concerns will be up in the upper Midwest Thursday going into Friday. Your medium range hazards outlook. So this is your 3 to 10 day outlook. You can see very hazardous or heavy snow possible October 26th there in portions of North Dakota. Heavy rainfall in these green zones, and right there the first frost or freeze may be moving into the plains as we head towards the very end of October. Thank you so much, everybody, for hopping on. Let's see what we've got going on in the comments here. So you got good sound. Let's head on down. When's my second winter outlook coming out? I'm planning to have that out within the next, say, 2 or maybe 3 weeks or so, and then I'll maybe do one more after that, and we'll see how that goes. Any severe weather expected with this system in Ohio? Right now, I'm not anticipating severe weather to make it that far east. It's barely staying in the plains, so I would definitely not anticipate any severe weather over there in Ohio. And thanks for the update. Yeah, you're welcome, Rich. Thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate everybody who's been on here and has watched this video. And I'm going to end the stream right now. Y'all have a blessed night, and everybody have a great day tomorrow. And I'll be doing some sort of video or live stream tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And let me know if you like this by dropping a like down below. Thank you so much, everyone.